Good afternoon, everyone. It's time for the annotated bibliography, and I hope by now that you have gotten the feedback on all of your practice segments, made those corrections, submitted for a higher grade, and are ready to finish your annotated bibliography. Now, be sure that you look at the instructions in the checklist. You should have 5 of the 6, and those are your practice segments, already done. Your 6th source will be the website not appropriate for research that you submitted in Module 7. As it says right here, you need to create an APA citation, an annotation, and then you will also have the source information. And it will say source type, inappropriate website, and research tool will be internet, and the permalink will just be the URL. So that's a real easy part down there. In your annotation, it's very important that you tell me why you think it's inappropriate. So that's a very important part. Why is it inappropriate? All right, so the due date is May 2nd, which is a week from next Tuesday. So the parts that you don't have done yet are the introduction and overview of your topic, and the research method, and your 6th source, which is your inappropriate website. You've got everything else done. So, you know, it's not just a whole lot that you have to create between now and then. It's really just these 2 parts and your 6th source if you've done all your practice segments and gotten them corrected. So the introduction and overview is just a couple of paragraphs, and you're going to tell me what you learned. What's your topic about? Put it in your own words. All of these things have to be in your own words. Research method, just follow these instructions. How did you begin your research? List the keywords that you discovered in those modules, those early modules. Did the pre-research process help you narrow down? Use your concept map to tell about the ideas and the keywords that you learned. Describe the specific research strategies. How did you use the Boolean operators? Did your searches work well? Did you have to go back and redo them? You weren't finding what you thought you should find, so you had to make adjustments. That's the kind of thing that we're looking for. What databases did you use, and which ones were most helpful? Which ones were not helpful at all? Did you use Bulldog? Did you use the online catalog? You know, that sort of thing. If you used other databases that weren't in Bulldog and you went out to ProQuest, that's fine. Explain that as well. Your overall experience with research and source evaluation process, which is your annotation. And how do you think this assignment, the annotated bibliography, might impact research you do for other classes? That's really important, because that's the whole point of this class, is for you to learn how to research and evaluate your resources so that you can do that in your other classes. Okay, so your annotations, citation, source info, we consider that kind of one unit, like your practice segment. 6 sources total. APA citation, annotation in your own words, and your source information for all 6 of them. So here's your required sources. PS1 is your reference source. Ebook is your PS2. Scholarly article, and this is your source type in your source information. That's what your source type should be. PS3. This says popular article. It can say non-scholarly. We're really using that terminology now rather than popular. So that's your PS4. And your appropriate website and your inappropriate website. You should already have this one done for your appropriate website. That's what you did in PS5. So if you have to tweak the citation or annotation or any of it, you need to go ahead and do that. And if you do that and resubmit it, I'll give you more points if you make those corrections in your practice segment. You want to make sure that you correct your practice segments. Do what I ask you to do. Every single semester, I have students who use the same old practice segment with all the errors in it, and I just have to count off again, because what I do is pull up my comments for each one of those to see if you actually made the corrections. And if you didn't, then you get counted off again. So it's really to your advantage to take my suggestions and make those corrections. So I can't emphasize that enough, because I do pull up the old practice segment feedback that I sent to you to see what I asked you to do. And if you didn't do it, you get counted off again. So, and that can be a lot of points. All right. So the overall formatting is just like the practice segments. All double spaced, hanging indent citations, and that's basically it. So make sure that it's all double spaced. Here it tells you right here. Make sure you have the introduction, the research method. Very important. All of your citations need to be in alphabetical order. So whatever the first word, whether it's a title or the last name of an author, that's what you go by to alphabetize. If you have any questions about that, let me know. The API formatted citation, then the annotation, and then the resource information. Okay. Here's your sources again. We do a lot of repeating here just in case you have any questions. Here's your checklist, so that will help you. Now this is very important. I haven't gone back to check unless I was suspicious that you had copied and pasted. But this time your annotated bibliography will be turned in to turnitin.com. And that's a part of the submission process. And then it will tell me if you have plagiarized and you haven't written the annotations in your own words. So if you think you've done that, and you've copied and pasted or used too much from the article or the abstract or the first paragraph or whatever, and it wasn't written in your own words, you need to fix that before you turn in your annotated bibliography, because it will be glaring and it will show me that you copied and pasted. And then you'll get a 0 for that. So be sure that you don't do that. And the other last thing is that it has the source type research tool used in permalink. So again, I've given you that information in your feedback. Okay, here's the example. It has a title page, then here's the overview, a couple of paragraphs, research method, a couple of paragraphs, annotated bibliography. And it's really helpful if you put these headings like this person did. See how they stand out? Here's kind of the topic, comma, and overview. Research method, here's your annotated bibliography, starting with the B. And you can glance down really quickly to see that they're in alphabetical order. Okay. All right. So if you have any questions about that, looking at the example is very, very helpful. Okay, so here's the submission, and you just click through like you usually do on the submission, and it will tell you what to do as far as submitting it through Turnitin. It's kind of automatic, so you do just what you usually do, and it automatically goes into Turnitin. And then it shows up in my needs to be graded column, and that's how I know that you've done it. Okay, so the final submission date is May 2nd. However, if you would like for me to look at your annotated bibliography before then and give you feedback so that you can make corrections, then you can do that by, we'll say the 27th should give me enough time, and I'll turn that around very quickly, and then you'll have all the corrections, and you can pretty much make 100 if that's what you would like to do. If your annotated bibliography is ready by April 27th, email it to me, attach it as an email, and I will look at it, make those suggestions like I've been doing in your practice segments all along, and email that back to you. Then you make those corrections, then you submit it right here. So if you want to give me a draft that you want feedback on, don't submit it here, email it to me. Only give your final draft here in this submission. Okay, again, let me know if you have any questions. So the next thing after your annotated bibliography is your final exam and discussion. And that's due on May 11th. So as soon as you turn in your annotated bibliography, this says that it won't open until May 8th, and then you have 3 days to do it. The final exam, I believe, is a 50-question exam. You get one time to finish it. Do the best you can. I've always had students that somehow forget to do it. So please don't forget to do it. I will put a video in here beginning of next week that explains a little bit more about how to do the final exam and final discussion. But that's all that's left in this course. And with that, I will say, if you have other items that you have not corrected, or there's something left out there with a 0 you forgot about, maybe you have 1 or 2 things and it was an oops, that really needs to be done as well by the 27th. I won't be able to look at those after that. So after the 27th, the only thing that I'll be looking at is annotated bibliography. So please pay attention to that. And I think that you're ready to go. Just let me know if there's any questions. Okay, all right, good luck.